Hello, I'm Jacqueline McInnes Wood, and welcome back to my official channel.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline McInnes Wood, and welcome back to my official channel. So I am sitting here at my keyboard at some ungodly hour with a cold cup of coffee, just trying to process everything that is happening on the show right now. Because let me tell you, my head is absolutely spinning. And I know yours is too. So much drama, so much betrayal, but mostly just pure, unadulterated chaos. I feel like my fingers are going to fall off from typing all these updates, but I have to get this out to you guys before the next episode airs because the landscape of Los Angeles fashion is literally shifting under our feet. And it is all because of one massive shocking moment at a press conference. So grab a snack and settle in because we have a lot of ground to cover today. Let me just start by setting the scene for what is easily the most explosive fashion preview we have seen in years. Katie Logan Spencer has been working her absolute hardest to make a name for herself. She wanted to launch this new Logan fashion brand, and she was relying on Eric Forrester's designs to do it because Eric promised her, he vowed to help her with her new collection. But then Eric seemingly abandoned the project, and that left Katie terrified that her fashion house was going to flop hard. But she has Bill Spencer in her corner. And Bill is not someone who just gives up. So Bill convinced Katie to move full speed ahead. He told her they were going to produce Eric's designs anyway, because Bill firmly believes you cannot steal something that you own. And he believes those designs belong to the Logan brand, fair and square. So Katie and Bill set up this massive press conference and fashion preview. They have the models, they have the press, they are ready to show the world what the Logan brand is all about. And Katie is standing up there trying to make her big announcement. But of course, Rich Forrester and Brooke Logan Forrester cannot just let Katie have her moment. No, they have to play dirty. Because Brooke has officially reached her limit when it comes to Katie and all her drama lately. Brooke feels like Katie has pushed her too far. And Ridge is always going to fiercely protect the Forrester Creations legacy. So Rich and Brooke literally barge into the press conference. They interrupt the festivities with an announcement of their own. They are there to completely derail the event, to ruin Katie's big day. And for a minute there, it looks like they are going to succeed. Because Brooke and Ridge are throwing around theft accusations. They are trying to publicly humiliate Katie and Bill. And the tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Bill and Ridge look like they are ready to come to actual physical blows right there in front of the cameras, which is classic Bill and Ridge, to be honest. But Katie is just standing there looking devastated because her own sister is doing this to her. Brooke is actively trying to destroy her future. And it is so hard to watch, but then something happens that literally nobody saw coming. Not Brooke, not Ridge, not Bill, and definitely not Katie. Eric Forrester walks into the room and the entire place goes dead silent because Eric is the patriarch. He is the legendary designer. He is the man whose designs are at the center of this entire vicious war. And Ridge and Brooke are looking at Eric like he is going to be their savior. They think Eric is going to stand up there and denounce Katie. They think he is going to say that Katie stole his work. But Eric does not do that. Instead, Eric steps up and drops the biggest bombshell of the entire year. He publicly acknowledges that the designs for the Logan line actually belong to Logan. I literally screamed at my screen because wow, just wow. Eric actually sides with Katie. He looks right at the cameras and he confirms that those designs are for Katie's new Logan brand. And the best part is that there is no clear contract. There is no legal document signed in blood binding Eric to this agreement. It is just his word. But in this industry, Eric Forrester's word is absolute law. He made a promise to Katie, and despite all the family pressure and all the Forrester loyalty, he decides to honor that promise. He validates Katie's entire fashion house right there on the spot, and you just have to imagine the look on Brooke's face because Brooke thought she had won. She thought she had successfully punished Katie, but Eric just pulled the rug right out from under her. And Ridge is probably fuming because Ridge hates Bill Spencer more than anything in the world. And now his own father has basically handed Bill and Katie a massive victory because Bill was right all along. Bill told his son, Will, that you cannot steal something that you own. And Eric just proved Bill right in front of the entire world. So let's talk about Will Spencer for a second, because Will has been totally caught in the middle of this mess. Will works at Forrester Creations. So he has been hearing all these rumors and accusations that his parents are thieves. And Will was furious. He actually went to Spencer Publications to have it out with Bill and Katie. He asked them point blank if it was true that they stole Eric's designs. He was hurling theft accusations at his own flesh and blood, and Bill stood his ground. But Will was still so conflicted because his parents were at war with his workplace. And now Eric has cleared the air. So Will is going to have to eat a little bit of crow. He is going to have to realize that his dad was actually telling the truth. But Will has a lot more on his plate right now than just corporate espionage, because his personal life is an absolute disaster. Will is desperate to reunite with Elektra Forrester. He really loves her. But Will made a massive mistake. He kissed Melissa Dillon at the beach house. And even though Will and Elektra were technically broken up when it happened, it still feels like a massive betrayal to Elektra. So Elektra asked Will point blank if he stepped out of bounds with Dillon, and Will had to admit the truth about the smooch. And that was the nail in the coffin for their relationship. Elektra is entirely done with him. And Will tried to defend himself. He pointed out that Elektra had her lips all over RJ Forrester recently too, which is true. But Elektra does not care. She is hurt and she is bitter. And she is completely shutting Will out. So Will's reunion dreams are completely dashed right now. And it is pushing him closer and closer to Dillon, because Dillon is there and Dillon has feelings for him. And honestly, Will and Dillon seem on track for a bedroom session sooner rather than later. And once Will takes that hot step with Dillon, it is going to be over for good with Elektra. There will be no going back. But let's talk about Elektra, because she is currently flying into a psychotic rage over at Forrester Creations. And it is all because Steffi Forrester Finnegan made a very controversial hiring decision. Steffi felt guilty about getting Dillon excited about a job and then letting it fall through. So Steffi called Dillon into the office and officially offered her a spot as the new receptionist at FC. And Dillon jumped at the opportunity because Dillon needs this job. She is tired of washing dishes at Il Giardino. She wants a real career. But Elektra is absolutely horrified that she has to work with her former best friend every single day. Elektra completely flipped out when she heard the news. She actually went crying to Ivy Forrester about it. And then Elektra and Ivy stormed into the CEO office together to demand that Steffi take back the job offer. They thought they could bully Steffi into firing Dillon before she even started. But Steffi is not someone you can bully. Steffi shut them down immediately. She reminded her cousins that she is their boss. And she told Elektra to stick her chin out and move on, which is exactly what Elektra needed to hear. But of course, Elektra did not listen. Instead, Elektra decided to take matters into her own hands. She encountered Dillon in the showroom and she just ripped into her. She told Dillon she had some nerve accepting a job at the fashion house considering the rift she caused. Dillon actually tried to extend an olive branch. She hoped they could find a way to coexist peacefully and maybe even be friends again one day. But Elektra rejected the peace offering completely. She erupted into a screaming rage. She aggressively demanded that Dillon quit her job. She told her to go to Steffi right now and quit. And she said she didn't care what Dillon told Steffi. She just wanted her to leave. But Dillon said no. And I was cheering for Dillon in that moment because Dillon explained that she needs this job. She is not going to just walk away from a paycheck because Elektra is throwing a temper tantrum. Dillon has faced real hardship. She knows what it is like to struggle. And she is not going to let a spoiled Forrester heiress intimidate her out of a career opportunity. So Dillon stood her ground. And that means Steffi might eventually be forced to make a difficult choice between the two employees if this feud keeps escalating. Because Elektra is ranting to RJ about it now. And with RJ on her side, I wonder if Elektra will try to get Dylan fired before she even gets her first paycheck. And speaking of RJ Forrester, he is having the time of his life right now because he has a massive crush on Elektra. And with Will out of the picture, RJ is making his move. RJ actually faced off with Will recently. He accused Will of being a double agent for Bill and Katie regarding the stolen designs. RJ dragged Bill's name through the mud and acted like Will was a chip off the old block. So there is a lot of bad blood between RJ and Will right now. And they are fighting over the Logan drama and over Elektra's heart. But RJ is definitely winning the battle for Elektra. Because while Will is getting closer to Dylan, RJ is sharing a romantic moonlight swim with Elektra. Yes, you heard that right. A moonlight swim. They are taking selfies together. They are flirting. RJ is telling Elektra how amazing she looks. And Elektra is complimenting him right back. She is fully opening her heart to RJ. She thinks RJ has a lot going for him. And she is finding comfort in his arms after all the Will turmoil. But what Elektra does not know is that this entire breakup was orchestrated by her own aunt. Ivy Forrester has been pulling the strings behind the scenes this whole time. Ivy wants Will to stay away from Elektra. She thinks RJ is a much better match for her niece. And Ivy is the one who completely sabotaged Will and Elektra's relationship. Because Elektra actually wrote a letter to Will asking him to meet her in the showroom so they could work things out. But Will never got that letter because Ivy snatched it and hid it in her purse. And Ivy has been so smug about it. She has been spying on RJ and Elektra's romantic evening together. She was watching them swim and flirt, and she was so pleased to see Elektra growing closer to RJ and moving on from Will. Ivy thinks her plan worked perfectly. But Ivy has a massive problem because Daphne Rose Walton saw her steal that letter. The nose knows everything. And Daphne has been complaining to Ivy about it constantly. Daphne thinks it is wrong to intentionally tear two people apart when they love each other. But Ivy just acts like Daphne is blowing things out of proportion. She keeps pressuring Daphne to keep her mouth shut. She tells her not to step on any toes because Ivy is a Forrester and Daphne needs to play her cards carefully. But Daphne is really struggling with this heavy secret. The guilt is eating her alive, especially because she is dealing with her own personal issues right now. Daphne and her new husband, Carter Walton, have been trying to start a family. They are hoping for some pregnancy news, but it is not happening as fast as they anticipated. So Carter and Daphne are facing some potential infertility struggles, and that is bringing a major challenge for them to work through as a couple. They are trying to enjoy a sizzling evening alone to make a baby. But Daphne is so burdened by Ivy's secret that she can barely focus, and Carter is a smart guy. He hasn't been around much lately, but at some point he is going to sense that Daphne is troubled. He is going to push her to open up. And if Carter finds out about Ivy sabotaging Will and Elektra, he's not going to like it. He will definitely push Daphne to tell the truth and try to salvage the romance. But Daphne might not even be the one to expose Ivy because someone else just found out the truth. And it is the absolute last person Ivy wants to know. Melissa Dylan? Yes. Dylan was participating in the favorite pastime of Forrester employees, eavesdropping. Dylan was peeking into the doorway of the design room, and she overheard a private conversation between Ivy and Daphne. She heard Daphne confront Ivy about snatching the letter. She heard every single word. So Dylan now knows that Ivy is responsible for keeping Will and Elektra apart. And Dylan did not just walk away. She actually busted Ivy. Once Daphne stormed off, Dylan stepped right in and confronted Elektra's aunt. She could not believe that Ivy was responsible for the breakup. And now Dylan has a massive moral dilemma on her hands. Does she tell Will the truth? If she tells Will about the letter, then Will and Elektra will probably get back together, and Dylan will lose her chance at a romance with Will. But if she keeps it to herself, she gets to keep Will. And there is another layer to this, because Ivy is absolutely ruthless. Last time Ivy paid Dylan to leave town. This time she might offer to pay her to keep quiet. And Dylan is terrified of being homeless again. She needs money to survive. So does she take a payoff from Ivy and lose everything she just gained in terms of her morals? Or does she tell the truth and risk Ivy destroying her new job at Forrester? It is an impossible choice. But Dylan is not evil. She is just a survivor taking advantage of opportunities. But the guilt of keeping this secret could really start to eat her up inside. So we have the Logan versus Forrester war escalating. We have the teen romance drama exploding. And we have massive secrets threatening to tear the company apart. But we cannot forget about the absolute sheer insanity happening over at Taylor Hayes' house. Because while all of this corporate fashion stuff is going down, Taylor is making some incredibly reckless personal decisions. Steffi explicitly warned Taylor to stay away from Deacon Sharp. Steffi told her that if she didn't end things with Deacon, she would cut Taylor out of the family completely. Steffi was not playing around, but Taylor is apparently addicted to danger because she is completely ignoring her daughter's orders. The sizzling attraction between Taylor and Deacon is just too powerful to keep them apart. They are sneaking around and taking their secret affair even further. And this time they are not just stopping at kissing. Deacon and Taylor are ready to take their betrayal to the next level by landing in bed together. In the middle of the day, in Taylor's bedroom, Deacon actually tells Taylor that he fought this as hard as he could, but nothing is going to keep them apart. And then they are making out on the bed, stripped down and ready for passion. But they made one massive critical mistake. They forgot to lock the front door, or at least they didn't draw the curtains. Because guess who shows up at Taylor's house right at that exact moment? Sheila Carter Sharp, Deacon's actual legal wife, the most dangerous woman in Los Angeles. Sheila doesn't know anything about the affair. She is completely in the dark. She actually shows up carrying a bouquet of flowers. She wants to spill more gratitude to Taylor and maybe seek some advice, because Sheila is completely delusional and thinks she and Taylor can be friends. So Sheila walks up to the door and she peeks in the window. Now it is unclear how much she actually sees, but she knocks on the door, and when nobody answers, she does not just walk away like a normal person, because she is Sheila. She insists on bringing Taylor those flowers. So inside the bedroom, absolute panic ensues. Taylor and Deacon hear Sheila calling out. Deacon has to scramble. The man is terrified. He is risking his marriage and his life by cheating with Taylor. So Deacon has to hide. He likely dives under the bed or locks himself in the bathroom while Taylor throws on a robe to answer the door. And the irony is just too perfect. Because remember, when Sheila was a fugitive hiding in a Pearlie's apartment, she had to hide in the bathroom. And now Deacon is doing the exact same thing to hide from her. It is absolute poetic justice, and it is hilarious, but also so incredibly tense. If Sheila catches them, it is going to be a bloodbath. How long can they really keep Sheila in the dark when her husband is breaking his marriage vows with her worst enemy? It is a ticking time bomb. And when it goes off, the explosion is going to rock the entire canvas. Just like the explosion that Eric Forrester just set off at Katie's press conference, because everything always comes back to the legacy of these families. Eric's decision to give the Logan brand his designs without a contract is going to change the power dynamics forever. Brooke is going to have to realize that her crusade against Katie is actually hurting the man she loves. Because Eric made his choice. He chose to support Katie. And Brooke derailing the event was a direct attack on Eric's wishes. So Brooke and Ridge are going to have to do some serious soul searching. And Katie and Bill are going to ride this wave of success. Bill is going to be so smug